screw it. I'll just bring it back up again. I have it right here. It's too good. It's too good not to, right? Here.
For 2.5 months before we got engaged. That was pretty funny, actually. Like maybe 2 months in. Actually, sorry.
2.5 months before they got engaged. But here's the guy who's gonna throw rocks at you for spinning plates and for dating around and for actually being in the sexual marketplace. But
first date was September 5th and we got engaged December 22nd.
Was she at all surprised?
Well, what was really funny is that about mid-November, November 15th, I remember all the dates.
He remembers all the dates. How much you want to bet she doesn't remember all the dates? I wonder if maybe she does. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being cynical. I will guarantee you he remembers all the dates, but she probably does not remember all the dates.
November 15th, it was the first time I said I love you to my wife, and she said thank you. And
okay, that was the cardinal mistake. Okay, never say I love you first. Would you like me to bring that up? I'll give you that one too. Here, God, this is so good. Well, this is the buildup, let's just say. For the Valentine's Day show, but I want to throw this one out here because it's too good not to put this up. This is Chateau Artiste. This is Royce, the inimitable, unrepeatable, unmatched glory that is Royce, which is now on Chateau Artiste, which is heartiste.org, in case you are wondering. It's HEARTISTE.org. From the 16 Commandments of Poon, the very first commandment of Poon: never say I love you first. Women want to feel like they have overcome obstacles to win a man's heart. They crave the challenge of capturing the interest of a man who has other women competing for his attention and eventually prevailing over his grudging reluctance to award his committed exclusivity to her. The man who gives his emotional world away too easily robs women of the satisfaction of earning his love. Though you may be in love with her, don't say it before she has said it. Show compassionate restraint for the need to struggle towards yin fulfillment, like yin yang. Inspire her to take the leap for you, and she'll return the favor 1,000-fold. Wow.
Very awkward month. It's like I'd finish every phone call, I'd be like, love you, sweetheart. Thanks. Bye. So that was real awkward. But the reason she was doing that, and it made sense, is because of what happened next, right? December 15th, she says to me, I love you too. And she knew what was going to happen. She said then the next words out of my mouth were, okay, let's get married.
Really? In some ways, I think a lot of people would want to say that is, well, he knew what he wanted. He vetted her in 2 months. Really? So you vetted her, right? So it's, I love you within the first month. And it's, will you marry me? Let's get married by, December, like the second month, right? I'm sorry, man. You got no business doing the newlywed game, Ben Shapiro. You got no business being in my fucking sphere, Ben Shapiro. Bye-bye. This right here, I love it when people give me so much shit about coming at Dr. Jordan Peterson, which I will probably do as well at some point. Talking about, here's how you ought to do things. Well, we just heard Dr. Jordan Peterson talking about essentially duty sex, which, by the way, I got ran up the flagpole for back in the Pat Campbell days, talking about duty sex. And people were like, I can't believe he brought, it actually flowed past the terrestrial radio show. We actually got sort of hammered on Twitter and some other things when that episode came out, and we were talking about duty sex. And I'm talking about everybody knows, and everybody just lost their ever loving mind. I purchased all for 15. There's giving it the first. Trying to spread the good word. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you very much. And let's see. You can have. Here you go. Get rid of those.
We're done. Okay, I love you. You love me. We're done. Let's get married. Let's have kids. Let's have a life together. And she goes, let's just enjoy this time. So I'm not enjoying this time.
The reason why he's not enjoying this time is because he is a beta and has been a beta for a very long time and is still a beta today. There's nothing more annoying. There's nothing more I have talked. Yes, I know Mike Rashid has been throwing rocks at me again recently. Thank you. You can stop sending me that. He's still salty after 2 years now. Okay. But when I was talking about him, I was talking about a blue pill alpha. This is a blue pill beta who succeeds. This is kind of like the inverse here. Okay. Ben Shapiro is in no way a quote unquote alpha male. Now he's got quite a bit of money. So if that's your criteria for what is alpha, then I guess maybe he's a little bit alpha, right? but certainly not in this aspect of his life. Now, of course, he wants to flex on it. And pretty much anybody who is in his position, who is in a position of scarcity, and that's what most like religious guys, most beta male religious guys, blue-pilled beta male religious guys are. They're in a state of sexual deficit. They are in a state of sexual scarcity. But they hold to their guns. I'm going to stick to my convictions and figure out what my values are, and all this very esoteric, kind of making your necessity a virtue kind of thing. So when they finally hit pay dirt, they get very self-righteous. They get very pious, right? I did it the right way. Ma ha ha! You didn't do it. You have a series of trysts of meaningless sex. Yeah, I played that in the beginning there too. But yet here we have. I'll tell you, it's funny. It's like guys like this love to tell their story. They love to tell that because they think that that's a flex. He thinks this is a flex, and that's why God, I love Valentine's Day, because it brings guys like this. It brings the Ben Shapiro, not just him. There's others too, but brings this out into the open. And it's at this point that you really have to hammer it home. Like guys like me, anyways, you really got to hammer it home. Because these are the dudes who want to tell you that they're on top of their game when it comes to intersexual dynamics. They want to get into the manosphere. They want to have something to do with Andrew Tate, but not everything to do with Andrew Tate. Now they don't want to have anything to do with that. They want to call themselves red pill, but they're not quite red pill. So when I see stuff like this, I got to hammer it home when it's hot and fresh. Sorry, hot, fresh red meat right here. Meat's back on the menu, boys, today. So when I see this stuff, it's like, oh, she's trying to say, hey, can we just enjoy this time? And he's like, no. I got to lock this pussy down, because if I don't know when the next one's going to come by. It's what's called the strategic pluralism theory. But people don't realize, if you don't know what strategic pluralism theory is, read one of my books. It's pretty much in every single one of them. Including religion for that matter. Strategic pluralism theory. I'm just going to distill it down to you in sort of just, layman's terms here. It is guys who are of lesser value, not high value men, lesser value men, have to adopt a strategy of scarcity. So because they don't have the opportunities, those opportunities don't come up. I'll see if I can find the actual. Sammy, can you go dig up? I forget what one it's in. It's a strategic pluralism theory. Just look it up on the Rational Mail so I can read it to these guys. But this is by the way, this theory anyways, is brought to you by the students of Dr. David Buss. So this isn't just Roald Tomasi pulling this out of his ass. Okay. Strategic pluralism theory is that the guys who have higher value have more options in the sexual marketplace. Clearly, right? A higher value guy, the guys in the 20%, and of course the guys in the 4.5% are going to be the guys who are going to have more women want to fuck them. That's the long and the short of it. Now, what about the guys in the 80%, but not quite like, the destitute lower end of that 80%? What about the guys who are just like pushing like 70 to 80%, right? They got to figure something out. They got to do value added. They've got to find something else. And what happens is in strategic pluralism theory is it is in the best interest of guys who do not have the sexual opportunities that say higher value guys do, to fixate and focus on one woman, to put all their eggs in one basket. To say, and also to encourage others to do the same. This is actually the premise of what's known as socially enforced monogamy, which of course you probably heard come from Jordan Peterson several times. Socially enforced monogamy. That doesn't mean force women into monogamy. What it means is that monogamy is the norm in society, in just polite society, right? Not just church society or religious society. It's just, man, well, you meet your star-crossed lover, right? I haven't met my soulmate from another life yet. That's essentially socially enforced monogamy. That's mythology that is meant to reinforce socially enforced monogamy. Well, what happens is when you put religion into the mix, and Ben Shapiro, by the way, not Christian, is Jewish. Okay, you put blue pill in with Judaism, you put blue pill in with even Islam, you put it in with Christianity, and now you've got a much more sticky mess to untangle for yourself. So when a guy like Shapiro, a blue-pilled, beta male guy, finally hits pay dirt, finally thinks that he's been sticking to his convictions and, Lord above, the angels sang and this wonderful woman came into his life, of course he's going to want to lock it down immediately because he doesn't know when the next meal is coming. He doesn't know when the next opportunity is coming. So yeah, that's the basis of strategic pluralism theory. Was that it? I know it's in that one. I'm pretty sure it's in that one. Let me see if I can. Was it in the new? Hold on a second. Okay, here it is. Oh, thank you for that. I got this from my war correspondent Sam Botta has just come through. According to strategic pluralism theory, this is Gangstad and Simpson This is in year 2000. And by the way, I want to say his name is Steve Gangstad. He is a student of Dr. David Buss. Men have evolved to pursue reproductive strategies that are contingent on their value on the mating market. More attractive men accrue reproductive benefits from spending more time seeking multiple mating partners and relatively less time investing in offspring. That is the alpha male. That's hit it and quit it, right? That's spread the seed. In contrast, the reproductive efforts of less attractive men who do not have the same mating opportunities is better allocated to investing heavily in their mates and offspring and spending relatively less time seeking additional mates. Does that not make sense? I mean, do we even need a study for this, really? From a woman's perspective, the ideal is to attract a partner who confers both long-term and investment and benefits and genetic benefits. So alpha fucks, beta bucks, that right there is the essence of hypergamy. It is not just who they are marrying and if they're marrying up. Got it? We're expanding. I hate to even have to remind anybody that the definition of hypergamy is not what it used to be, okay? Not all women, however, will be able to attract long-term investing mates who also display heritable fitness cues. Consequently, women face trade-offs in choosing mates because they may be forced to choose between mates displaying fitness indicators or those who will assist in offspring care and be good long-term mates. The most straightforward prediction follows is that women seeking short-term mates, when the man is only contributing or only contribution is offspring is genetic, will prefer muscularity more than women seeking long-term mates. There you go. Dad bod versus hot bod in a nutshell. Thank you, Dr. Gangstad, for your enlightenment and your wonderful hypothesis and your wonderful theory. We will come back to that at some point, I'm sure.
This is miserable for me. Like, what are you talking about? If you're a religious person dating for marriage, the worst thing is the dating. The dating and the engagement sucks. Like, if you're a religious person, then you get to get married, you get to sleep with the person, you get to live with the person, but life, like that's all the rest of this is just delay. So she's like, what?
So all the rest of this is just delay. All right. I want to get to the sex part. Hey, chop, chop. I can't have any sex until till you give me the go ahead, till we get the green light, till we jump over the broomstick or crush the glass. They still do that. Remember, what was it? Fiddler on a Roof. Until we can do Fiddler on a Roof, we're going to move things along here because I ain't getting any younger. One of the things that gets I'm sorry, this is an aside here, but one of the things that gets me about, and we're getting to Eliza Blue, don't worry. This is the buildup, okay? Hold your horse. Keep your panties on. Not like her. However, when you have guys who are very convicted of their personal beliefs, their religious beliefs, it doesn't even necessarily have to be religious beliefs. It can just be simply like their quote unquote values, right? I think women ought to be this way, men ought to be this way. They have to rush through the various stages of seduction. Now, if you follow Mystery Method, or hell, if you even read my 5th book, which is the Player's Handbook, you'll understand that there's a flow. Okay. It's today, really since the spark of the sexual revolution, it has been sex first and relationship after. Now, he's flip-flopping those things because it used to be that way. I'm not saying it's not necessarily that's not a good idea. It used to be. Today, it's untenable. And I'll tell you why it's untenable. Because today, the average age of first marriage in the United States for men is about 29 to 30. Women, 28 to 29. You're going to tell me that you're going to wait until you're 30 years old before you have sex for the first time. You're going to tell me, ladies, that you're going to wait. You're going to go through college. You're going to go to Cancun. You're going to go to foam cannon parties. You're going to meet a hot guy there. You're going to tell me you're going to wait. Maybe you're a better person than Rollo. That's why I say it's untenable right now. But when you have a guy who is sort of the blue pill beta guy who hits pay dirt finally finds this one, she must be the one. She is literally the one because there ain't nobody else forthcoming. He lives in a state of sexual deficit as sexual or strategic pluralism theory would predict. And here we have a good example of strategic pluralism theory. Okay. We're going back to David Butts saying, this ain't Roll Tomasi. I am just reporting the news and connecting some dots here. So of course he wants to hurry through this. Of course he wants to get to, can we just like get to the sex part? Well, what about marriage? Well, yeah, we'll do that too. Yeah. That's why, you know, I'm saying these guys are probably not the best people to take marriage advice from, relationship advice from, sex advice from. Probably the last people on planet Earth who ought to be commenting about the sexual degeneracy ongoing in the United States today. I'm not saying they're right or they're wrong, but that's for a conversation for another thing. I'm saying that there's probably the last people that ought to be talking about it because they simply don't have the lived experience. They simply don't know what's going on, or they certainly don't have the investment in understanding it and sort of dedicating the time necessary to understand it. So that said, here you go. He doesn't
enjoy this. I'm like, you don't understand. I'm not enjoying this at all. This sucks. Like, I want to lock this down. We'll be done. It'll be great. This will be over. This period of our life. She was like, well, you know, let's just think about it. A week later, we got engaged. We were dating.
See? So if you've, gosh, I'm going to give you some, you really want some nuts and bolts here. This is a break of the flow. Okay. So the seduction part, most guys who are very bad with game, who can't believe their luck when they come into a woman who will actually touch their, right? When they finally come into that and they see that woman in front of them, the uncomfortable part of the seduction is the actual arousal part. It's the actual sort of lived part. It's getting to know each other. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Sorrelita. He was horny. Ain't nobody got time for that. And they don't got time for that. So when a blue pill beta guy finally hits pay dirt, of course he's going to crow like a spring cock on top of the biggest pile of shit he can find. Guaranteed. And that's usually what these guys do around this time, around Valentine's Day.